Hello and welcome to the British Dapper, and today we're talking about sartorially prepared for autumn. So whilst we're in the mid-August period and I'm sitting here wearing a linen cotton mixed jacket and quite summery colours, now's the time to really start thinking about our autumn wardrobe and sartorially being prepared for the autumn period. And so today I'm just going to go through a few ideas with you about in preparation for that autumn period. Now this time of the year is great, lovely when the sun's out and we're able to dress in a summer environment. But I can't wait until September when we're starting to get more cooler weather and I can start increasing the types of items I'm wearing, as in the formality level and the ability to match and mix different items and materials. And I find it much more enjoyable to be able to dress in the cooler parts of the year. And autumn is one of those periods where we get some lovely colours in nature, and I tend to use these colours in my ensembles in the autumn period. So for example, we've got lots of burgundies, reds, we've got some burnt oranges, some ochre colours, we've also got some forest greens coming through, and I use fawn as a background colour to enhance the overall look. And we're starting to look at darker browns as well in the shoes and hats, etc. So with that cooler weather, it affords us to wear thicker materials like wools and heavier materials that go really well and provide an element of warmth in the cooler part of the year. But not only that, they drape and shape better on the body anyway, because they are of a more robust material. Suiting is a classic example. With the thicker material, it drapes really well, it silhouettes a lot better than something that's a lot lightweight. And it has a little bit of body and structure to the suit, and it looks really good on you. But you can't necessarily wear a suit like that in the summer months. So it's really when we get into the autumn period that we can start wearing thicker materials and more robust materials. And let's be honest, there's a range of weather conditions throughout the autumn period, from summer type conditions all the way through to going into winter conditions. So today I'm just going to go through a few ideas with you about what we can actually look at introducing into our wardrobe, and maybe give you some inspiration. If you haven't got any of these items, then maybe think about, do you want to include some of these items in your autumn wardrobe? So the first thing I would say is, as it gets a bit cooler, start introducing maybe a sweater or a jumper. And I tend to go for a roll neck jumper. It can be lightweight, a thin merino wool jumper, and it can go all the way up to a thick chunky wool jumper, which is great when it gets really cold. But it goes really well in that semi-casual sort of look, goes really well under a tweed jacket or a wool jacket, and it adds an extra layer of warmth. And it's very informal, as in you don't wear a tie with it, so it goes really well in that casual vibe as well. They come in a range of colours as well, which is great. The other type of jumper that I might wear is something that's got a little bit more of a pattern to it. It might be cable knit, so it's got a bit of texture to it as well. That goes really well when it gets a little bit colder and I want to wear a shirt or a tie, and it goes really well over a pair of trousers or over a pair of, for example, corduroy trousers, or it could be moleskin trousers, something a little bit thicker like flannels. Goes really well with that look. But if we want to then change the look and go up a level, let's start thinking about, it gets a bit cooler, so what about jackets? Now, when it comes to jackets, I tend to, in the early part of autumn, you can get away with a Harrington jacket, very lightweight material, still okay for that time of the year. As it gets a little bit cooler though, maybe we're looking at something a bit more robust, maybe that Harrington jacket in a tweed, or maybe a wool version of it, or maybe a bomber jacket, just to give you that little bit more warmth. But then we start to go into maybe starting to wear a sports jacket as well, and that's a little bit more robust. And we can also have wool jackets as well. They give you a lot more thickness and a bit more warmth, and they add a bit of body to the actual overall look. The great thing about this time of the year when we're looking at autumn is we can start layering different things and different materials and getting a completely different look that we would normally get in the summer months, which tends to be much more relaxed and more driven by temperature than by looks. So if we want to introduce those trousers in the autumn period, then maybe we're looking at something like corduroy trousers or flannel trousers, or even go along the lines of moleskin trousers. Certainly cavalry twill is in the mix as well, because they're slightly thicker, and if they're wool based, they tend to give you a bit more warmth as well. Although I would say be a little bit cautious about the colors that you use, and don't have too much of a mixture of colors in the actual ensemble. So if you're wearing quite brightly colors in the jacket, then maybe use something like a fawn color in the trousers to balance it out. But you could also wear jeans with that as well, and jeans go really well with a casual look. So chinos are another one, but I would go for those more autumn colors in the chinos. So for example, we're maybe looking at burnt orange or forest greens, olive greens, or we might be looking at something along the lines of navy blue. Stepping into a little bit more cooler times of the year, and when it gets a bit more inclement, then maybe we're starting to look at something like a raincoat. So it could be a trench coat, traditional trench coat, or it could be something with much sleeker lines when the weather starts getting a bit more inclement and we're prone to showers. Then maybe something like that goes really well, goes well over something like a suit or more formal occasion type wear, or it can be worn still quite casually over a pair of jeans or a pair of flannels with a pair of shoes and a relaxed shirt and a tie. Then it's still a good look. Winter though, when it starts getting more colder in that autumn period, then maybe we're looking at something like a wool coat. And I love my full length winter wool coats. They go really well in the autumn period as well, as we get cooler at the latter part of autumn into winter. But one of my go-to looks is, for example, this one here, navy trench coat cut wool coat. Goes really well with that off-white roll neck jumper, pair of jeans and a pair of brown shoes, and it goes really well. And I think, to be honest with you, I still think that somebody in their 20s could wear this look and it would still be acceptable and still a cool look for them. But those wool coats come in a range of colors. So they might be fawn, they might be sand colors, they might be off beige, camel colors. And then we start looking into forest greens as a really lovely color to wear in a wool coat, full length wool coat. But navies are great, and also the other color that I would go for is a black for a very formal occasion. But they are great for that cooler time of the year when it's starting to head into winter conditions. And that brings me on, when we're talking about winter conditions, is the headwear that we wear. So it might be, for example, that in the summer months we're wearing a straw hat or maybe a cotton hat of some description. but maybe we're starting to look at introducing more winter-like hats in our ensembles. So it could be a flat cap, it could be a newsboy cap, but we then start looking into felt caps. So it might be a case of wearing a fedora or a trilby hat, and they come in a range of colors. I typically wear a chocolate brown one or a navy one. Dark grey is another good color, or a black hat, depending on the ensemble that I'm using. And they range from that typically trilby fedora look, which is a cool look, all the way up to maybe if you wanted to wear in a formal setting, a bowler hat. And a bowler hat, whilst it's black, it can be in other colors as well. So for example, a chocolate brown or even an olive or dark green hat is a really good look if you're going to wear a bowler hat. I know they do come in other colors, and they can come in off-whites, reds, blues, purples, but I'd be a bit careful about wearing a bowler hat with those colors, depending on the ensemble you're wearing it with. But this is just a few ideas about really what we're going to be wearing in the more cooler part of the year as we head into that winter period. And that means the footwear might change as well. So those light tan shoes and boots are going to be put into my wardrobe now, and we're starting to head into autumn conditions, so I'll start rolling out darker materials. So for example, in the earlier part of autumn, I can still wear some dark brown suede shoes, but they could also be, for example, Chelsea boots. And as it gets a bit cooler and a bit more inclement, then maybe I'll wear dark brown Chelsea boots or black. And that is really where we're heading for in the autumn-winter period. I would say though that shoes can change as well, so I would maybe introduce burgundy as a color. And I tend to wear black shoes with my more formal outfits. So for example, a navy suit, whilst it's quite a dark color, and we start introducing darker colors in the more autumn-winter period, we can introduce those autumn colors into the ensemble in the tie or in the pocket square to lift the overall look of wearing something that is quite a dark suit. So don't be afraid to introduce those autumn colors in the pocket square and the tie for that formal wear. So when it comes to suits, it might be a little bit more along the lines of a thicker wool material, more robust material, and it drapes better on the body, it looks better on the body, and it is a staple piece in the winter months for me. And it can be quite refined as well. So when the winter months or autumn period, then maybe we start introducing darker coloured suiting as well for that time of the year. So quite a few ideas there for you, just firing them off the top of my head, just to help you think about what you're going to be wearing in the autumn. And is there anything there that you think, oh, I haven't got one of those, maybe I should try and get one of those for this autumn? Now's the time to start looking. So what are you sitting there for? Get up, have a look in your wardrobe, start thinking about what you're going to be wearing this autumn. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe, then please feel free to do so. We have a Buy Me a Coffee page, so if you'd like to make a contribution to the channel, then please feel free to do so. We also love constructive comments, so if you'd like to make some, jot them down below. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. And if you've got a question you'd like to pose to us, or you'd like an answer to, then why not jot it down? We'll try and answer your question for you. We also like ideas for future videos, so if you want to make a contribution and make a suggestion about future content, then please again, jot it in the notes below and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. The next video could be something that you've recommended or suggested. So until next time, take care.